hereby call to the order the reorganization meeting of the Morris Plains Board of Adjustment on January 22nd, 2024. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby announce that this meeting is being held in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Proper notice of meeting dates has been given to the Morris Newsbee and the Morris County Daily Record and posted on the bulletin board in Borough Hall. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and a quorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Karen, roll call, please.
Mr. Baza?
Here.
Mrs. Cortez?
Here.
Mr. Ethan? Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. McCabe?
Here.
Mr. Webster?
Present.
Mr. Schultz?
Here.
Mr. Rizzo?
Here.
And Mr. Cianciano?
Here. The next order of business is election of officers for calendar year 2024. The secretary has the floor.
Okay. May I have a nomination for chairman, please?
I'd like to nominate Dave Schultz.
Okay. Are there any additional nominations? There being no more, further nominations, I declare the nominations closed and ask for a roll call on the nomination of Mr. David Schultz as chairman. Okay, Mr. Baza?
Yes.
Mrs. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Abstain?
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
And Mr. Cianciano?
Yes.
Okay. Next, may I have a nomination for vice chair?
Yes, I would like to nominate Doug McCabe for vice chair.
Okay. Are
Second.
there any additional nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare the nominations closed and ask for a roll call on the nomination of Mr. Doug McCabe as vice chair. Okay, roll call. Mr. Baza?
Yes.
Mrs. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Abstain.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
And Mr. Cianciano?
Yes.
And I would like to congratulate both of you on your new.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'll have a few words in a few moments after we get through our reorganization. Next, we need approval of the board's legal representation for 2024. Can I please have a motion to approve Michael Sullivan, Esquire, from the firm of Stickle, Koenig, Sullivan and Drill as counsel for the board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Voice vote's good? Yeah. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? Motion passes. Next, we need approval of the board's secretary for 2024. Can I have a motion to approve Karen Coffey as secretary to the board?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Okay, I thank Karen, Michael, our professionals, and all members of the board for their continued service to the borough. Next on the agenda is a resolution to set dates for the regular meetings of the Board of Adjustment for 2024. Board of Adjustment Resolution 2401 is offered for the board's review and approval. Are there any questions on the resolution? If there are none, there will be a motion to approve.
Motion.
Mr. Chachada, second.
Second.
Dan, Karen, roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Baza?
Yes.
Mrs. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Ethan? I'm sorry. Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Cianciano?
Yes.
All right. Special announcements of the chairman. Once again, I am chair, and I greatly appreciate board members' confidence in me, and it's my honor to serve this role. A special thanks to Mike Baza for his longtime role as vice chair and chair over the past years. He and I spoke about building depth, right? Getting a deeper bench, and I think that's a great idea. I don't think I should be chair forever. I don't want to be chair forever, and Much as I enjoy it, it is time to build bench, and we thank Mr. McCabe for stepping up and beginning that. I was going to welcome Councilwoman Kathy Kelly, but I don't see her here. I will say that she is this year's chair of the borough's Ordinance and Public Utilities Committee, and as such is the governing body's liaison to this board. She and I will talk frequently during the year to make sure she's informed of board activities. The mayor sends his regards. He was going to step in, but is unable to, but he did want me to extend his greetings. As we begin the year, I'd like to provide member updates. The following appointments were made by Mayor Jason Carr and announced at the borough's reorganization meeting. Reappointment of Mike Baza for a 4-year term, reappointment of Mark Carr for a 4-year term, and reappointment of Bart Chinchada as alternate 2 for a 2-year term. Congratulations to all the reappointments. I would like to acknowledge all the members who continue to serve on this board, noting the year that their service on the board began. Mike Baza, 2007. Bob Webster, 2012. Mark Carr, 2013. Shaji Epen, 2015. Doug McCabe, 2015. Lisa Cortez, 2018. Dan Rizos, 2020. And Bart Chinchada, 2023. That is about almost 90 years total of volunteer service that you see up on the stage, so pretty remarkable on the lack of turnover. Thank you for all your years of service to the borough and its residents. As to timing tonight, we have 2 applications on this evening's agenda. We normally plan on no new testimony after 10:30, but this evening I hope to get to a vote on both, even if we go a little bit past our normal deadline. We will take a short recess between the 2 applications. Finally, I would like to note that this is probably Leon Hall's last meeting with us. As members of this board know, Leon has announced his retirement. He has graciously agreed to see our open applications through completion. And then, Leon, I believe you're out of here. Fishing calls, is that fair to say?
Not exactly, but something like that.
I kid him a bit, but I want to recognize his 20-plus years of appointed service and note that he's been working with the borough longer than that, a bit behind the scenes back in the day when Carl Denzler was the borough engineer. Leon, your position will be filled, but there is no replacing you. So we applaud and thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next item is on our agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Are there any corrections or additions to the meeting minutes? I believe there's at least one correction of the meeting minutes from December 18th, 2023 regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I have one. Karen, I'm not sure what
Okay.
page it is. They're not really legible.
All right, 174, what page? Just count
That's what I'm
there.
looking.
One,
It's
two.
179. There's a break. It says break from 8:23 p.m. to 9 p.m. I don't believe we took a break that long. I believe it was probably 8:53 to 9 p.m.
Okay. Okay,
Any other corrections?
thank you.
If there are no other corrections, is there a motion to approve as amended?
Motion.
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Carr,
that
Mr.
was
McCabe?
Yes,
Carr.
I got it, okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, abstentions? I heard Mr. Webster and Mr. Rizos abstain.
Okay,
All right. This part of the meeting is to hear comments from members of the public on matters other than those items on tonight's agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments? All right, I'll close, seeing that, I'll close that part of the meeting. And belatedly, I should have done this under special announcements, I see Jack Carr and Frank Drutzler, former members of this board, and good to see you. Correspondence and bills, do we have any?
Yes. We have a few. I have purchase order number 202-40056 to Stickle, Koenig and Sullivan, 571 Pompton Avenue, Cedar Grove, New Jersey, professional services from 6/1/23 to 7/31/23 in the amount of $825. Purchase order number 202-40057 to Stickle, Koenig and Sullivan, 571 Pompton Avenue, Cedar Grove, New Jersey, 07009, for professional services from 12/1/23 to 12/31/23 in the amount of $288.75. Purchase order number 202-40058 to Anderson and Densler, 383 Ridgedale Avenue, East Hanover, New Jersey, 07936, for professional services for the month of December 2023 in the amount of $46.28.
Does your reading of the bills constitute a motion to pay?
Yes, it does.
Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Vaza, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? All right, the bills are approved. The first application on tonight's agenda is application BA 423, Scott Fletcher, 10 Kosakowski Drive, block 82.01, lot 7. The application was deemed complete last month, was properly noticed, and the hearing started at the last regular meeting. The matter has been carried to this evening's meeting, no need for additional notice. Before we go any further, I'll ask Board Attorney Sullivan to swear in the board's professionals for both applications, including Mr. Maltz.
Would all three of you raise your right hands? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
I do.
I see Ms. Stone Doherty is returned as attorney for the applicant. Please reintroduce yourself for the record, and then the floor will be yours for a short recap or for testimony straight away.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Rosemary Stone Dougherty with the law firm of Jabberbound and Wargap here tonight on behalf of the applicant Scott Fletcher regarding the property at 10 Kosakowski Drive, also known as block 8201, lot 7. To recap where we were at the last meeting and to give the board just a little bit of a roadmap of the planned presentation this evening, at the end of the last meeting, the board and the board's professionals gave some assignments to my client's professionals to get some answers regarding on the architecturals, how the calculation was done regarding the height and the attic space to make sure it did meet the borough's definition of half a story. We believe from reading the board planner's memo that she concurs that it does meet the half-story definition. So therefore, I'm not planning on recalling the architect, Mr. Chairman, but I did have him come anyways, just in case an architectural related question comes up. Also, since the last meeting, Mr. Miola, who is my client's engineer and also will be testifying in dual capacity as a planner, had to make some revisions to the soil disturbance application component that was submitted. We did receive a letter from the borough engineer, Mr. Hall, with some additional items that need to be addressed. And we did receive an updated letter from Mr. Norton, indicating that it was his opinion that could be deemed complete. I don't know if as a matter of procedure, Mr. Chair, if you want to do that first and then jump into the remaining part of the application, or if we can just do it with the testimony when I have Mr. Miola when I recall him.
I don't think we need to deem it complete again, because we deemed the soils app complete last month. And then so I think Mr. Norton's comment was chronologically off, so we can cover that in testimony.
Great, so then the plan presentation is, we have the contract purchaser, Mr. Charles LaCastro, that I plan on calling first to explain again the design of the home and why the home is designed in the manner it is, which is causing the variance requested. And then after Mr. LaCastro is done, I plan on recalling Mr. Miola to finish up his engineering testimony and then have him testify in the planning capacity. Okay. So at this time, if we can call Mr. Charles LaCastro.
Mr. LaCastro, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth in the matter pending before the board?
Yes, I do.
State your name and address.
Charles LaCastro, 136 Changebridge Road, Montville, New Jersey.
Carla, you can sit here next to me. So Charlie, you're the contract purchaser, correct, who's looking to build the house at 10 Kosakowski Drive, correct?
Yes, I am.
And I know you weren't at the last meeting, unfortunately, because you were sick, but your professionals and myself recapped you on some of the concerns the board had in regards to the design of the home.
Yes, I couldn't make the last meeting. I contacted COVID-19 and I'm much better now today.
So can you, in your own words, explain to the board, which they heard with the architect, at the last meeting, as to how the design of the first floor was done in regards to some of the concerns being the extra wide doorways, the layout of the first floor, and the garage space?
Yes. So, at this point in our lives, my wife and I want a home that can be totally on one level because of our physical problems that we have. We have illnesses that are gonna carry forward in our life at this point that we've gone through. Some pretty horrible things in the last 2 years that made me realize I need to change my living conditions and get something all on one level for the future, so that we can handle these things that come back at us potentially in the future. We both suffer from AFib, we have heart problems.
Excuse me, sir, you just have to speak up a little louder.
We both suffer from AFib, we have heart problems, amongst other issues, but we corrected them and we're in good shape now. We wanna move forward and make a change in our lives and build this house that'll accommodate our new style of living for the future. We've incorporated the layout to justify wider openings on all the doorways. I've sat countless hours with Chris, our architect, to determine what's gonna be the best layout for the bathroom, the curbless entries into the shower. I wanted to have plenty of light in all the rooms, and then ease and access in and out of the bedroom to at least a rear porch. If for some reason I lose the capacity of mobility in the future, which I did happen to me 2 years ago for like 6 months. I couldn't get around, I was stuck homebound. And I want a plan that, something comfortable for myself with the rooms, with the size of the rooms, having access to porches, and easy access to the rear deck. I think the space that we planned was, we tried to keep them conform with the allotted spaces as much as we could.
So, Mr. LaCastro, I know you initially, and your testimony was, designed this to be one floor living. And right now, on the first floor, you have how many bedrooms?
Everything is on the first floor, our bedrooms, our living room, we'll call it a dinette, kitchen, and exposure to a back porch. The second story is basically for friends and relatives that come over, or if I need additional health care in the future. I mean, this will be my forever house. I don't think I'm gonna do this again in the future. So we're taking this opportunity to make it happen now, while we're both in good physical health.
Now, after the last meeting, we advised you of some of the board members' comments and concerns, and regarding being over 420 square feet on that first floor living, correct?
Yes.
And can you explain to the board why the garage is important for you to remain the width it is for that future mobility concerns?
Well, as you can see, I'm not a small guy, with a little extra room to get out of the car. We have SUVs, we transport, both myself and my wife have large SUVs. And I've had a house similar to this with a smaller garage for many years, and had nothing but difficulty getting out and hitting the garage wall on my side. So we tried to plan that space for that reason, and storage, the remaining space that was added will be for storage.
And also to accommodate a potential future lift into the house for a wheelchair, is that correct?
Yes, and also that consideration.
So if I understand your testimony, when you met with the architect, you really took this as an opportunity on a new construction house to try to design the house to accommodate with what you've already experienced with your lack of mobility and illness, and what the future is unfortunately likely gonna hold, that you would be able to have the house built to accommodate that situation from the beginning, correct?
That is 100% correct.
Rather than having to retrofit the house when and if that time comes, this house is already ready to be fitted.
Right. We plan not to move and to stay in the house till our golden years. And, we wanna make sure it's accommodating.
Thank you, Mr. LaCastro.
Any questions from the board's professionals? For this witness?
I don't.
A couple quick. How many bedrooms are you proposing on the first floor?
One
What?
bedroom.
The garage, is the garage a three-car garage, is that correct?
Yes.
Why do you need 3 cars if it's just you and your wife?
I wanted additional space. We use our garage for our cars, and I wanted to have more storage. For garden tools, I'm not gonna put a shed up on the property. I wanted everything in the garage.
This house comes equipped with a walkout basement, correct?
I'm sorry?
This house comes equipped with a walkout basement, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Could you use the basement for storage?
We would be using the basement for storage.
Okay, so you need the entire basement and a large garage for storage.
Yes. I came from a very large house. I have a lot of stuff. And I like my little hobbies. I'll probably paint and do other things in the basement. I have no intentions of having people live there or finish it for a man cave. It would remain pretty much the way it is.
And Mr. LaCastro, just so it's clear, besides your hobbies and your garden tools and things that would normally be left in a shed, you also have, I believe, it was testified to by your architect, an antique car or something that you also wanted to be able to store in your garage, correct?
That would be true. Initially, I wanna make room for a car. I've owned it for years. It'll be hard for me to part with it. It's a 1989 Avanti, and I kinda love the car. So eventually I'll probably sell it, but for now I wanna maintain a spot for it.
And you're also understand with the design of the garage that when the time comes for the lift, then it really probably will only, even though it's a 3-car, accommodate 2 vehicles, correct?
Yes.
How many steps are there up from the garage slab to the first floor elevation?
We tried to minimize that as much as we possibly could, keeping the front elevation of the floor fairly close to the street elevation. And I think we balanced it as maximum as we could, potentially get it balanced on all aspects, from the front stoop into the house and also from the garage into the house. I think we'll end up with maybe 2 steps, if that. We're just gonna try to minimize it as much as we could.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from board members regarding this testimony? Any questions from members of the public for this witness? Okay, we're just gonna sit down.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. LaCastro. At this time, we'd like to recall Mr. Frederick C. Miola. Fred, you understand you're still under oath from the last meeting,
Yes, I do.
okay? And all your licenses and credentials are still current since the last meeting?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. So, Mr. Miola, why don't we do some cleanup first and start with the changes that were done to the soil disturbance application?
Yes, flip the page, so I can walk you through it. I'm on page 404.
Now, Fred,
And we all should be dealing with the drawing that's dated January 5th.
which are the plans that were resubmitted to the board,
Yes.
correct?
Okay. The main reason why we came up, originally we had a balanced site, is because asking for a drain in the back corner of the building to catch the water coming off the easterly lawn area increased the dry well by one more pit. So I had to get rid of all that dirt, plus the swale created some extra dirt too. So it ended up that we had 127 yards of fill we were gonna have to remove.
Fred, just to be clear, I believe Mr. Norton's letter says 128 cubic yards.
Yeah, I think it's actually the exact number that we calculated, I believe was 125.78. So it's give or take 127, 128 yards. We're dealing with dirt, guys. This isn't a Swiss watch.
Okay, and, did you have a chance to review Mr. Hall's letter of January 18th regarding, some of the notes he had regarding items needed to still be addressed in regards to the soil disturbance?
Yes. I looked at Leon's letter, and we're fine with everything. I mean, 3, 4, 5 are all okay. We'll take care of adding those numbers. We had already submitted to Morris County Soil Erosion. I did try putting a call in today to find out. I couldn't get anybody on the phone, so it's still going through the process, but it should be approved. They actually had called me for one little change that they didn't send back to them, so it's in the works.
Okay, and items 6 and 7?
6 and 7 are fine also.
So there's nothing in Mr. Hall's letter that you cannot comply with in regards to the comments regarding the soil disturbance, permit request?
No, not at all.
Now, when we left the, last
Can
meeting.
I jump in there for 1 second?
Sure.
When you refer to my comments 6 and 7, under soil disturbance, I have no comments 6 and 7. I just wanna make sure that we're all talking about the same comments. I have, section A of my report, soil disturbance. I have comments 1, 2, and 3. That's all I have under soil disturbance.
Yes.
I just wanna make
they
sure we're
were
talking
fine
about the same
also.
thing.
Yeah, your letter was fine. I have no problems with any of the comments. We'll take care of cleaning it up. It's basically housekeeping.
Now, there's one comment, it just kind of came to the order last week or so. It's not in my report, but it's very important that if there's an approval here, and the soil does get indeed exported, Mountain Way School is right down Mountain Way from this site. And if there is an approval, there needs to be a condition that no loaded trucks export soil from this site during times of school drop-off and pickup. So I'd like to see the trucks only roll from about 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. I mean, it's only 8 or 10 trucks,
Yeah,
It's
we're
probably
fine.
2
It's not
days.
that much.
but we can't have trucks anywhere near the school when kids are getting dropped off or picked up.
And we had also talked, Leon had suggested going down Dogwood and then over, I think, to Grannis and then up that way to Route 10, and we're fine with that also. But yes, we can keep it between 10 and 2 just to be safe.
And just to confirm for the record that all the soil that you're exporting is indeed leaving the borough of Morris Plains, is that correct?
Yes. As of right now, it's going to East Hanover.
As long as it goes outside the borough, that's all I care about.
Okay, so Fred, moving ahead on Mr. Hall's letter, going under section B for the application comments. Okay, and also refreshing your memory as to some of the comments from the, last meeting. Can you highlight to the board if there's anything in Mr. Hall's letter that you were unable to achieve engineering-wise and the revisions you made to the plan?
Yeah, I do not believe there's anything in Mr. Hall's report that we have to deal with, that we can comply with everything. I've read it over again, some of the things are just general comments and, size of pipes and those kind of things, and we will take care of those.
How about my comment 7 on page 3, A through D? That has to do with your analysis within 500 feet of properties in terms of the building coverage.
Yeah, well, I'll change those words and we'll add the house numbers. Yeah, I mean, to me, everything seems just like clean up again, unless I'm missing something way on.
And again, Mr. Miola, when you go into the planning testimony, you do have an exhibit this evening that you have also prepared that also addresses some of the concerns regarding number 7 in Mr. Hall's
Yeah.
letter as well, correct?
Yeah, 7D will be addressed with the package that we prepared.
Okay.
So just to be clear, you were able to insert the inlet at the end of the swale and pipe it to the dry well, as Mr. Hall had previously indicated,
Yes, we did.
okay? And we show the trees remaining on the property, correct, as was indicated at the last meeting,
Correct.
okay? And you were able to do the test pit that Mr. Hall had requested as well?
Yes, and I believe we show it now. We were able to get down 13 feet with a little bit of difficulty because it was a rubber tired backhoe, and as he got closer to the bottom, we kept hitting more and more rock that he had to pick out, but he was able to pick it out that far. So there is no groundwater, nothing popped in.
The soil log and the soil permeability is satisfactory.
So, Mr. Miola, before we move into your planning component of the testimony, is there any other remaining engineering items that need to be addressed so that Mr. Hall is satisfied in regards to the engineering revisions that were made from between last meeting and this meeting?
No, I don't believe so. I believe everything has been addressed or will be cleaned up based on the report that Mr. Hall gave us.
Okay, so with that being said, we'd like to move into the.
Can we cover Mr. Norton's letter? So
Absolutely.
It's leave the completeness, disregard his completeness comment, but he does have a condition that he recommends. If you could read that for the record on this January 22nd, 2024.
Yes.
And let us know if you agree to that condition.
Yeah, we agree with it. We have no problem.
Okay, given that this just came in today and the public may not know about it, just read the pertinent sentence, please.
Yeah. I recommend that the application be approved as complete with the condition that the applicant provide the borough engineer the source and quantity of all construction-related materials to be imported for the site, foundation, drainage, and landscaping, i.e. QP stone, topsoil, at least 45 days prior to start of construction, and we will comply with that.
Leon, you good with that as to close out Mr. Norton's comment?
Yes, that's Joe Norton, that's a typical comment from Mr. Norton.
Okay, thank you. All right, and so do you want to end the engineering testimony with questions and then a break on it? You're gonna have them go into planning and then allow questions to both components?
Mr. Chair, it's probably more efficient if we have any engineering questions to answer them now and then go into planning.
Leon, any additional engineering questions?
No.
Board members, any questions on engineering testimony we heard today? Any members of the public have questions for this witness on the engineering testimony we heard today? Okay, that part is closed. We're on to planning testimony.
Yes, thank you. So, Mr. Miola, before you start your planning testimony, you did prepare an exhibit for the board, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and I believe, Karen, we're at A4? And we'll call this one just generically planning exhibit, if that works, Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay, so we brought plenty of copies for all the board members and for the professionals.
Here?
Remembered you
Oh,
from last
thanks.
meeting. I gave one to Karen
Oh, all
already.
right, good, thank you. All right, we're good.
You want me to give it to here?
You guys going? Liz?
Yes, we do. Just in case you wanna. Want to keep you busy here. so, Mr. Miola, one of the, charges that the board, planner and professionals, and as well as the board asked, was that you get some clarity on the figures that were provided on your last chart, correct?
Yep, that is correct.
So one of the first things, that was done by council, to help facilitate that was we did an Oprah request, and the board members will see in their packets that we actually had the full tax cards for each property on the street poll. So we're dealing with exact numbers, not guesstimates like before, based off information found online, that this is actually on file with the municipality's tax office, correct, Mr. Miola?
Yes, and let me just, so everybody knows, they were all stapled together. Top page is a summary, then you have the tax map, then you have an aerial map of Kosakowski Way, and then everyone goes in order, starting on the left side of Kosakowski, going up the cul-de-sac, turning around and coming back. So all these are stapled together in that order, so you have the picture and you have the card right with it.
Okay. So, Mr. Miola, and I believe the, board's planner had indicated that one of the things was to come up with what the first floor footprint, for lack of a better, is for all the other houses on Kosakowski, correct?
Yes,
So that was the first number you calculated from the tax cards, correct?
yes, the first number we calculated, and number two, I'll highlight the ones that are in our size or slightly larger than ours. Number two, Kosakowski has a first floor footprint of 3,475 square feet. That's including the garage at the first floor level. And then 12 Kosakowski has 3,026 square feet. 9 Kosakowski has 2,989 square feet. And then our lot, which is number 10 Kosakowski, right now we're proposing 3,099 square feet. So they're pretty much in keeping. Yeah, I'll save it for later, let's keep going.
Okay, and just to be clear, currently right now, number 4 and number 6 Kosakowski are currently vacant lots. However, number 4 Kosakowski actually has filed plans with the municipality, correct? So that's where you got those numbers from?
Yes, yes, the number 4 is based on the plans that were submitted, and that will comply. Number 6, we don't know, because it's a vacant lot, it's owned by, husband and wife.
Okay, so then the next thing that you, wanted to calculate and make sure it was correct on the record, because there was some questions and concerns with the numbers that were ascertained, prior to getting the official tax card, is, for lack of a better word, what the tax assessor calls the livable square foot areas of the other homes on the street, correct?
Yes.
And where does this property fit in with those existing homes today, or proposed homes per the plans on file?
Most of them are pretty much in keeping with us. Our home, between the first floor and the half a story above for the extra bedrooms to comply, would be at 3,950 square feet. 2 Kosakowski is at 3,760, 4 Kosakowski is at 4,285. 8 Kosakowski is at 3,359. 12 Kosakowski is at 4,775. 9 Kosakowski is at 4,094 square feet. 7 Kosakowski is 4,392 square feet. And then 5 Kosakowski is one of the smaller homes in the neighborhood. It's at 3,136. And the house at the corner of Kosakowski and Mountain Way is at 1833. So that's the whole street up and around.
Okay, so putting your planning hat on for a moment, just kind of take the board through the neighborhood as far as the styles of homes that you see on Kosakowski.
Yeah, if you look at the pictures, you can see the majority of the style of the homes are two-story colonials. So they have the living space on the first floor, the bedrooms upstairs. I point that out because I think it's important to realize you heard what,
Mr. LaCastro?
thank you. I've known him for years and I forgot his name. Mr. LaCastro is trying to accomplish, and I think a lot of the problem with us being over by the 400 square feet or so is because of them trying to put in a master bedroom on that first floor. If you took that and moved it upstairs, we would probably have a very similar home to everybody else in the neighborhood and totally conformance.
So, Mr. Miola, you had an opportunity to review, the, board planner, Mrs. Lehaney's, planning memo, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you go through your opinion as a planner, the C2 variance relief that would be necessary for the variances sought?
And let me just stop you, I just wanna make sure I understand how you're proceeding with your variance case. You are proceeding under C2, not C1, is that correct?
We're proceeding under, yes, C2, we'll say yes.
Yes, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
Can you go through the C2 variance proofs, in connection with the application? Cause at this point, the application is requesting the variance for the maximum building coverage, which is currently at 3,099 square feet, correct? Is
Correct.
the total, first floor building coverage that is proposed. And under your chart that you prepared, and in accordance with the planner's calculation, and I believe Mr. Hall's review of the application, is what's permitted for first floor on this lot is 2,679 square feet.
Yes, that is correct. We are over by 420 square feet on the first floor, and then the second floor is only a half a story. It's only to have the availability in the future, because selling a one-bedroom house is very difficult. So even though they're not planning on using the bedrooms, they wanna have the ability to have it in there. And that's why it's only half a story, and they the architect did a nice job putting some nice dormers up there to make it, doesn't look like a flat roof. It's got a nice pretty look to it.
And Mr. Miola, you did hear Mr. LaCastro's testimony that the 2 additional bedrooms, making this a 3-bedroom house, would also be used by guests or future health aides that would be necessary,
Yes.
correct? So
Yes.
it's not just, I don't want the board to have the impression it's just for resale, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so can you go through the C2 variance, proofs, as far as the variance relief being sought here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, do the benefits of allowing the home to be 400 square foot larger in footprint than what the ordinances make sense in this thing? And I think, given all the testimony you have, and Mr. LaCastro and him and his wife planning for their future and staying in this home, it makes sense. You know, you could shave a little bit here or there, but trying to get 400 square feet off of this house and keep the same size of the bedrooms and the open doors and the extra bathroom, doesn't work. And as I pointed out, again, if this was a traditional 2-story colonial, we probably would totally comply.
And we'd be talking about a total square footage house significantly larger than what the applicant is proposing,
Well,
correct?
yes, I mean, if you took this as a 2-story house, we're allowed 2,679 square feet. So you could double that, so our maximum size could be 5,300 and change. I did it in my head quickly. So, you know, the home that's being proposed is not excessively large for the neighborhood. The problem is the size on the first floor footprint is a little bit over what's allowed by code.
So, Mr. Miola, as part of the, application packet, there were some additional, proofs that you had offered as part of the addendum. Those proofs, is that part of your outline of testimony in support of the flexible C?
Yes.
Okay, and are there any detriments associated with granting this variance that you can foresee?
Yeah, I've been out to this neighborhood probably at least 8 to 10 times through this process because of the extra dry wells and the extra deck we had to get. I was out there numerous times looking at these homes. And I believe that this house, with the size, is in keeping with all of the other houses that have been built in Kosakowski way. Different style home, but as far as its appearance, it's gonna look in character that it belongs there. It's not gonna be sticking out like a sore thumb. The only one that does look a little bit out of place is the one at the corner, because it's the smallest house in the neighborhood. And it looks, you drive by and it's like small compared to all the other ones. You can see it, you know. And I'm not picking on them, it's just a smaller home. It's one of the oldest homes too. It's been up, that was there before Kosakowski was built and the new homes went up.
Okay, so, Mr. Miola, besides the fact that the bedroom is located on the first floor as part of the design that Mr. LaCastro and his wife are seeking due to health-related issues and future wheelchair accessibility concerns, did you also have an opportunity to kind of analyze that if there was a detached garage versus an attached garage or any of those things, would that help the overall coverage for the house?
It would, with the detached garage, I believe falls in a different category, if I remember correctly. So it would help the coverage, but from what the client, the owner, the person who's gonna be buying the property wants, it wouldn't help, because now, as he's getting older and he has a problem in the wheelchair, the garage is gonna be a trek rolling it up, especially considering the grades out there, of trying to wheel it up the driveway.
Let me just stop you, Mr. Miola. I don't know why a garage wouldn't be counted towards building coverage.
I thought a detached garage fell under a different category, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't-
No, it's included.
Okay.
I'll note, your column first floor footprint is actually incorrect. The building coverage is all of the principal and accessory structures.
Okay.
So it's beyond just the, if it was a detached garage, it would still be in this category.
Okay, I stand corrected, I apologize. But the detached garage would bring a different problem into the mix.
Okay, Mr. Miola, is there any additional planning proofs that you would like to put on the record in support of the variance being sought?
Yep, no, I mean, I think it's a fairly straightforward application. It's an application, and it's one of those applications where you're not looking at, well, I'm gonna approve it, but we're not quite sure who's, this is the person who's already on the contract to buy the house, to buy the lot, to build a house, so you know exactly what's gonna be built there. This is exactly what's gonna be there. There's not gonna be any change.
And would you have any issues as a planner with any conditions, in following up with what Mr. LaCastro said, that if the board were to grant the variance being sought, that there would be no shed placed on the property, and that the size of the house would be the size that is approved? Any additional additions or anything would have to come back to this board for additional approval?
No, I mean, I think that's only fair, considering what we're saying and the reason why we feel that this is a good application and it should get a variance. If we're being honest with you, we shouldn't have any problems with that, with those restrictions.
Thank you, Mr. Miola.
Questions from the board's professionals on this testimony?
I do. So, as you, I'm sure know, the second half of the positive criteria is that the benefits of granting this variance would outweigh the detriments. And the benefits really need to be for the general public. It can't just be benefits to the homeowner. So can you provide testimony as to how this would benefit the neighborhood or Morris Plains at large, or, you know,
Yeah,
beyond?
I think the benefits would be that this is, if you look at the plans, it's a very nice, very attractive home that fits into that neighborhood very well. Different style than the other ones, because the other ones are all two-story colonials, but the appearance still is a very nice, clear, clean appearance that would be a benefit to that neighborhood. It would look like it belongs there. Now, if somebody was deciding that they wanted to build a contemporary home there, I don't know if I would be able to say the same thing. It's not gonna fit. But the home was thought about in the proper light, trying to say, let's blend in with the neighbors that are out there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna follow up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Miola, also as part of the, criteria, isn't it also true that even though it is over on the building coverage, it does not violate any setbacks?
Yes, there's ample room on this property to fit this home. It's not being squeezed in to hit minimum setbacks to make it work. The setbacks, if you look, are all beyond what's allowed.
Now, with the benefits that you outlined, in terms of streetscape or aesthetic, would those benefits still exist even if you had a compliant, building coverage?
Yes, if you had you could design a house very attractive that's gonna fit with the neighborhood, that would blend in very well. The only disadvantage is it's not gonna meet the needs of the person who's looking to buy the property and build the home.
I just, of the houses and the tax cards that you provided, of the 6 homes that have been complete, I don't know if you happen to count how many of them have bedrooms on the ground floor.
I don't believe any of them do.
Well, I just saw 4 of them do, out of the 6.
Yeah.
So it's not an uncommon feature, I think, in the neighborhood.
Four of the homes have bedrooms on the first floor?
Yes.
I stand corrected then, I apologize.
And just one other thing, in your table, you note that the livable area on the proposed home is 3,950. That doesn't include the attic space though, right?
No, 3,950 includes the attic, the area of space. Well, I shouldn't say that, it's the space above the first floor. You know, I don't think there's enough of a pitch to have anything upstairs in the attic, because the attic is really under the eaves. This home, when you look at the pictures of it that the architect has.
I think the architectural drawings show that there is a square footage that is above 5 feet in height, which
Yeah,
would count.
There's no stairway up there, it's just
Right, it's a pull-down stair system.
pull down stairs.
It's for storage only, as was testified to. With the eaves and the slants in the ceiling, there would be no way.
Yeah, it's,
I think there is a fair amount of square footage that's above.
yeah, no, I hear you,
Yeah.
and you may have to get the architect up, because I'm not sure of the way his numbers are calculated up here, whether the second floor area is the same as the attic, proposed attic, because the attic is the areas on the sides, because I'm looking at a tie beam across the top.
And just one further note, and then I'm done, Mr. Chair, is that the 2 asterisks on the cover page that say aerial image that shows part of rear deck pergola. Rear decks and unroofed structures, and a pergola sort of in that aerial that was provided, it's not a roof, and building coverage only includes roofed structures. So that's why it would not be counted.
Liz, what was your source of data for the observation on the bedrooms on the first floor?
The tax records that are provided.
So it's the information within Exhibit A4.
That's right.
Ms. Miola, you said, for the subject property, total livable area is 3,950, correct?
Correct.
And first floor is 3,099?
Correct.
So that means the second story is roughly 850 square feet, is that correct?
Yes,
And that's what your architectural plans indicate? Or I shouldn't ask you that,
I
but.
hope so.
That's what they say.
Okay.
I think we need
He
more.
has
further-
851 square feet.
Okay. Now, there's 10 properties on the street, 2 of which are vacant, but 1 does have a set of plans. So of the 9 of the 10, there are either structures existing or there's a structure about to be built, correct?
Correct.
If you take your property off, now we're down to 8 of the 10 properties with structures on them or will have structures on them. Of those 8, how many are conforming in terms of maximum permitted building coverage?
I believe all but 1.
So 7 of the 8 are conforming, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So again, Mr. Miola, though, the proofs under flexible C are that the benefits outweigh the detriments in regards to the property that is seeking the variance here tonight, correct? Not all the other properties in the neighborhood, even though those proofs help often with plan and testimony, correct?
Yes.
And it's your testimony that this evening, in constructing the house in a manner that allows the contract purchaser to design and build the house from the beginning, rather than come back to the board later for variances and retrofit a house to have it be handicapped, ADA accessible for the needs of the applicant and his family. It's your position that those, along with the benefits to the public that were enumerated in the application and you testified to, help support that flexible C argument?
Yes, yes, I mean, I think, you know, this is an applicant that wants to build his house here, he wants to spend the rest of his life here, and he's trying to accomplish that with what he's trying to build, being conscious of the fact that he's already had some problems, so he knows he needs the first floor bedroom.
So again, the issue here is that the first floor maximum building coverage is the issue, but the overall size of the house fits within the sizes of the homes. In fact, it's smaller than 4 of the other homes on the block that you enumerated in your chart, correct?
Yes, I am correct.
And that with proper conditions, if this board were to feel free to feel in support of granting it, would ensure that this house would stay in the overall, stay the size it is today as part of the consideration for granting that relief, correct?
Correct. I was just checking something that the planner had said, and Elizabeth, I apologize, I just went through the cards, and unless I miscounted it, I only counted 3 houses that had a bedroom on the first floor in the chart. Some of the charts are blank, so I don't know.
I saw that 2 Kosakowski did. And then I wrote down 12 Kosakowski. Let me just double check.
Yeah, so yes, but she's right, there are some homes out there that have a bedroom on the first floor. It's just a question of the number.
Okay, so Fred, just going through though, 2 Kosakowski, according to the tax card, is a total 5 bedroom,
Yes.
correct?
It has a bedroom on the first floor.
Okay, obviously for Kosakowski, we don't have the full sets of plans with us, so I don't know if
No.
you remember how many bedrooms that house
No,
has.
I don't know.
Okay, so skip that one. Number 6 is obviously a
Vacant
vacant
lot.
lot, okay? So number 8, unfortunately,
Doesn't have
doesn't list any
any
of the
bedrooms.
breakdown by floor, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so that one is unclear, and it's unclear as to number of bedrooms, right?
Okay, then 12 has one on the ground floor.
Hold on, before we get to 12, we should have number 10, right? Number 10 is also blank.
10 is us.
I'm
10
sorry.
is us. So we will have one on the first floor, hopefully.
Okay.
And then, and 9 has.
12 has one,
Yeah.
which is,
12 Kosakowski has one,
also a 5-bedroom home, correct?
yes.
Okay.
And,
So-
and 9 has one.
9 has one, which is also a 5-bedroom home, right?
Yes.
Okay,
7 does, I think, no.
no,
it
7 does
doesn't.
not, and that is a 4-bedroom home, right?
Yes.
And number 5
No,
has none, and that's a
5
4-bedroom
has
home.
none.
and then 272 Mountain does. It has 2 on the first floor.
Yeah,
Right, and 2 on
272
the
Mountain
second.
is the smallest house. I really think those are the only bedrooms on that,
Right,
probably.
272
Oh, it says
is
2
the,
bedrooms on the second
is
floor.
the Cape.
It's a cape, so 2 downstairs and 2 up.
Now, Fred, also though, just for purposes of what, is classified as a bedroom is any room that has a closet, correct?
Correct.
So, why it's listed as a bedroom with a closet, it may not be an actual bedroom being utilized in the home, correct?
Well, yes, we don't know how they're utilizing the rooms. This is just what the town assessor's cards have on them as their description of it, yes.
So again, out of the 6 homes that we just went through, 3 of them are 5 bedrooms, 3 are 4 bedrooms, and how many bedrooms does our client's house have?
3.
3 bedrooms.
Any questions from the board, Jeff? What, you guys, questions over? Questions from board members regarding this witness's testimony, planning testimony? So I have one, so I have no question in my mind about, the value of barrier-free accessibility. In terms of planning, how does the third bay in the garage benefit, how does that contribute towards benefiting the public as a positive criteria?
It doesn't, it's a wish of the client to have a 4-bedroom, 3-car garage, so he can have his supplies and equipment in there. I agree with you, it's a large garage. I've had numerous talks with him.
If the garage were a traditional 2-car garage with room for barrier-free lift eventually, would there still be a C2 variance needed?
Yes, I don't think you can cut 400 square feet off of this garage. You know, you may be able to shave 100 square foot off of it.
Just 100?
Pardon?
Just 100?
Well, let me look at the plan, Leon.
I'm really struggling to see the benefit to the public that this larger house brings that a compliant house would. Help me see that benefit to the public, I get the benefit to the buyer.
With the numbers first.
Let me get the garage first.
Yeah, Mr. Miola, when I look at the floor plans on sheet A-103, that rear garage bay, I guess for the antique car, I believe measures 14 feet 2 inches wide by about 18 feet deep. That's a lot more than 100 square feet.
Yes. That's why I hesitated, I wanted to find the plan, I don't have it with me, so, yes, it's. Yeah, that's about 250 square feet if I did it right.
Yeah, I got 254.
And those are inside dimensions.
That's correct. So they'd actually be bigger than that for the walls. Add another 6 inches around the 2 sides of the perimeter.
Mr. Wall, can you just move the speaker or the fan?
We don't have one.
Oh, that's right here.
Oh.
So if you added the 6-inch wall thickness, maybe another 20 square feet, maybe around 270 square feet, plus or minus, something like that.
Plus or minus, yeah.
So I had a question hanging, that I didn't hear answered. Do you remember the question? Did you hear it? Or I need to repeat it?
About the garage, what the benefits are for a three-car.
Right.
And I tell you honestly, there are none, it's the wishes of the client to want a three-car garage, because him and his wife need room to maneuver in and out, and that would take care of the front portion, but that last portion is where he was gonna keep his antique car. You know, that's what's gonna have to be eliminated to comply. And it wouldn't comply, but it would just bring it closer to compliance. You know, it would bring us down in the ballpark of maybe 175, 200 square foot excess instead of the 430 we
So
are.
if I could ask you to, offer an affirmative number, that maybe a calculator instead of estimate.
Yeah,
Could we have the architect maybe double check that number?
Sure.
Because he's working on it right now,
Sure.
okay? Since Mr. Miola's not even looking at
yeah,
it.
yeah, since I don't have the right page here.
So I think the question is, if that third bay was eliminated, what would be the building coverage?
Okay, so if you took that off,
And then by extension.
That's, yeah, that's what we're working on right now, Mike.
what would be? And then take it off 6,099 minus 2,299. And how much would it be? Would be this
2838, yeah, that's what I got.
And we'd still be over this amount.
Yeah. Yes. If we eliminated the third garage bay, we would be looking for 2838, so we'd be over by 159 square feet.
And is it your opinion that reduction by that amount has no adverse effect on the barrier-free accessibility to or within the building?
Correct.
Any other questions from board members? Questions? Yes. Questions from members of the public? Any comments on this application?
Mr. Chairman, if I may just ask my client a question, I just don't want to.
Sure, we'll pause for a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So I conferred with my client and the contract purchaser, and just to be clear for the record, we would like to request that the application be amended to remove the 261 square feet from the garage. So as testified to by Mr. Miola, that would make the total building coverage 2,838 square feet. We still require a variance because we're 159 square feet over, which is a result of having that small roofed area for the rear deck and having the aesthetic design in the front for the front coverage porch, which is more aesthetic in nature than functional.
Noted, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for the professionals on that revision?
You just mentioned the exterior deck, 'cause that's not counted, you haven't counted that towards your building coverage, correct?
We have, the 3099 includes the roof over the deck.
Oh, the roof, the
Right.
screen
Roof over
porch,
the-
Correct.
but not the exterior deck.
No, because that doesn't count.
Right,
It was
no,
the
that's
roof
what-
over the porch,
the
right,
porch.
right.
Right,
And
okay.
then the front roof over the front aesthetic, porch that's part of the design of the home, which doesn't have so much functionality, it's just more design, aesthetic.
Your front covered porch is 26 feet long, correct? Plus or minus? I'm asking you.
Yes, it's
27?
it's 27. And as testified to last time, as part of the aesthetic design of the home, and as the A1 exhibit showed last time, a lot of the other homes have the covered porches, columns, different variations of that in the neighborhood.
I just look at that covered porch at 27 feet long. I can obviously see it where the front door is there, where it says covered porch. But there's two extensions of the porch on either side of that, in front of the laundry and in front of the, oh, I'm sorry, that's the front door, okay. I was just trying to get at, is there a way that the covered porch could be shaved down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, at this time, the applicant has really shaved a lot, and the aesthetics of the home are important to the client, and it also allows for when that day happens and they need to be able to be wheeled or set or maneuver on the porch, there gives some flexibility there on the porch. I'm not sure the board's, vibe on the concern so much of the front aesthetic of the house.
Leon or Liz, any other questions on the amendment? Board members, questions?
If the third bay is removed, will that classic car then just be parked outside in the driveway? I mean, would that be?
A
that
car
exist?
would be, his choice of whether it's gonna be the Classic or one of the SUVs is up to him.
So it would be, there'd be permanently a
It'd
vehicle
be
parked
permanently
outside?
vehicle in the
Yeah.
driveway.
Which is allowed by ordinance.
Well, of course, no,
Yeah.
I'm saying it
Okay.
would be a net benefit to have, if he has 3 vehicles, to have one covered. I was just asking that, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I suspect the Avanti will stay in the garage.
You mentioned having room for a lift in the future.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the client is worrying that as he gets older, and he's having more and more difficulty. He's gonna have his car parked there, he has to get from the garage to the house. And I should correct something, he said it was about 2 steps. It's really gonna be more like 4, because it's about 30 inches between the garage floor and the first floor. So there'll have to be a small lift to get him up that 4 feet.
And does removal of that third bay give you room to do that?
I would think so, but that's more of an architectural question.
Yeah, if you look where those stairs come in from the first floor into the garage, there's plenty of room there for a lift, even if you remove that bay. A lift like this is only roughly 2 feet wide by about 3 feet deep. And it's little floor plate.
Yeah.
It
The small lift's
fits.
about 4 by 4.
It fits right
I
in there.
put one in on a project I had in Hanover. We put in a lift to get somebody up the stairs to meet handicap code for a little chiropractor's office put out.
Is there any living space above that third bay that you're removing in the garage?
No,
No.
So you have a garage going straight back
Yes,
with
garage
nothing on
straight
top?
back.
nothing on
Just
top.
roof, pitch roof.
Yeah. Cause the drawings I have seem to show a roof beyond the front of the garage.
No.
See that, Evan?
Um,
I'm not sure what that is.
No, it's the roof just over the garage. The one that I have that shows the calculation. On the left side, you can see where the bay of the garage is, and it just
So
says.
the roof is running from front to back like this?
Yeah, I believe so.
Chris, do you have the elevations that we showed last time, just to show a better?
Yeah.
It was just the way the pitch of the roof went,
Yeah.
front, back.
Okay.
But this is, like testified to last time, the smaller story above with the 2 bedrooms, that little open loft and bathroom area.
We changed the roof line a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to change the roof line now.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
it
back
will.
of the roof line would change, yeah.
This will come down. So it would look uneven then, from the front of the house?
Look much more uneven. So this ridge, if we take off 18
Did we
feet.
swear you in?
Not today, last time.
You did, okay, just so the record's clear, you understand you're still under oath.
If we bring the back of the garage in 18 feet, this would probably drop, 6 feet. This ridge would drop down 6 feet.
Yeah, so it wouldn't look balanced on both sides. The other side would still have that roof.
Why couldn't you just pick up the pitch so it wouldn't drop so much?
What?
Hold on a second. Why couldn't you pick up the pitch of the roof so it wouldn't drop 6 feet?
We always try to keep front to back pitches consistent throughout the house. If we raise this up to make it equal, we would wanna raise this up, which we don't have room height-wise to do. So I don't think that's a viable option.
But the concern is that it won't match the roof on the opposite side of the building? As far as height goes?
Correct, it will not.
So why can't you drop the other side? What's above that particular?
This is all attic space above the master suite. Again, if you drop the pitch on one, you're gonna drop the pitch on all of them, so it looks consistent.
Right.
Or you're gonna keep the ridge and have an asymmetric pitch front and back.
Front to back, that looks terrible.
I'm just
My
saying,
opinion.
right, there's not just one solution.
Correct.
But it is something that you can work out with the applicant to still be in compliance. Obviously, we're not here for a height variance, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any additional questions on this change testimony for either the planner or the architect? Always up from board members.
Can you just confirm what is the variance now we're looking for?
There's 2 variances. There's a variance for building coverage.
Yeah, what did it go down to?
2,838 square feet, where 2,679 square feet is allowed, so there is an overage of 159 square feet.
Thank you.
Any questions from members of the public for this revised testimony? Seeing none, this witness is complete. This is now the opportunity for members of the public to make comments on this application as a whole. Seeing none, I'll turn the floor over to the applicant's attorney for a closing statement if she wishes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We appreciate your listening to the testimony at the last meeting as well as this one. Sorry, I got it. I just wanted to be clear, council, did we determine at the last meeting that we no longer needed the disturbance of steep slope
I think you
variance?
still need the soil
We
disturbance.
still need that,
Oh,
correct?
no,
Soil
steep
disturbance
slope.
or steep slope
Steep
variance?
slope.
Steep
Yes,
slope.
yeah.
Yeah, you still need it.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
But the degree of it will change if the building footprint changes.
Right, but we won't be able to calculate that here.
Mr. Miola, did the area of steep slopes greater than 20% change as a result of your latest revised grading plan?
So again, you're seeking 3,099 square feet of disturbance of steep slopes 20% or greater, correct?
Okay, and then in regards to the maximum building coverage, that goes down to 2,838 square feet, where before it was 3,099. So again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we appreciate all your time and consideration. As you heard from the contract purchaser, as well as the architect and the planner, the goals here and what was trying to be balanced was being able to design a house from the beginning that would meet the needs of the contract purchaser in regards to the wheelchair accessibility needs that unfortunately the contract purchaser has already dealt with and is prepared for the inevitable future that is going to entail. And with that being said, they tried to use this opportunity to design the house to meet all those needs currently, rather than put in a house and then retrofit it and come back to the board with the variances that would be required in the future. The idea here was, for lack of a better word, was to be honest up front and have better planning now at the onset of the design of the home, rather than just to put the house up and then come back to the board later when those circumstances have changed. We hope that Mr. Chairman and members of the board, that you can see that the contract purchaser is working with the board, understood the concerns, has taken off 261 square feet of the garage to show that he appreciates the board's concerns. We are still over 159 square feet, but we hope the planning testimony provided by Mr. Miola alleviates the board's concerns that under the C2 variance relief and looking at the scope and the sizes of the homes, the general makeup of the neighborhood, and the design of the house and the characteristics of the home, that we meet those purposes under the municipal land use law in support of that C2 variance relief that we're seeking, and we hope the board approves this application. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And can I ask Karen just a question? This is a carryover from a prior meeting. All the board members are eligible except for Mr. Cianciano, because he's alternate too, right? Were you here? You were not.
I was not here at the last
Mr.
one, so I
Webster
can't vote.
can't either.
Oh, okay. So
He
we
was
have,
not, the people that weren't here is Mr. Ethan, Mr. Webster, and Mr. Riza.
so how many eligible voters do we have?
So we would have, 7-5.
Which one?
We have Mr. Baza, Mrs. Cortez, Mr. Carr, Mr. McCabe. We have a little more. Mr. Schultz.
So we have five board members are eligible. Okay. So that's all.
Is Mr.
I am.
He is eligible. He was here last meeting, even though he's an alternate.
here
He's
last
an
meeting.
alternate, right.
Yeah, well, he can step in now, so.
No,
So the three that cannot vote is
Raise your hand if you can vote. One.
Mr. Ethan, Mr. Webster,
4,
and
5,
Mr.
6.
I think I
Riza.
can vote, I'll
Yeah,
see.
but keep your hand down,
Yes.
yes.
Right, but yeah, that's right.
Right, so 6 who can vote.
Right, 6.
So it's the time for the board to deliberate, publicly, put our thoughts on the record. We often go over conditions of approval before we begin conversations, just because it informs the conversation, does not presume approval. Mr. Sullivan, what conditions do you have?
Okay, if this application is approved, it will be subject to compliance with the items contained in Mr. Hall's report of January 18, 2024. Compliance with the comment in the Morris County Soil Conservation District report of January 17, 2024. We would impose a condition that loaded trucks would only travel between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and the soil shall be relocated outside the borough. Have to comply with Mr. Norton's January 22 to 24 comment. The applicant stipulated there would be no shed on the property, that there would be no additions to the home. I think that's everything that I have. Do you have anything else, Mr. Hall or Ms. Lane?
Maybe you said it, maybe I missed it, no trucks coming down, did you say that?
Limited to between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
No.
Yeah, you're fine.
Board members, thoughts?
Certainly a lot to unpack here. You know, we've been obviously deliberating over this for some time. You know, I think in summation, the applicant has been responsive to our commentary here and some of our, you know, questions and concerns, and adjusted the application, you know, consistent with that. And I think that, you know, generally speaking, they've answered the mail relative to meeting the C2 variance.
I mean, you know, when I was up on and looking around, it seems like the rendering will fit in nicely. You know, you take into consideration you know, for the steep slope, the hardships that exist on that lot, there's no way of getting around it, so I don't have a problem with that. And then the coverages, again, it's going to fit in. And looking at the data that was provided, you know, there is a house that's over. It's within reason. The compromise made, I think, is, you know, address the one outstanding issue in my own mind about, you know, need, the hardship versus, you know, the public good, Dave, that you brought up. So you know, I'm definitely in favor of moving forward with it.
I kinda like the fact that, adding another home in the borough that is ADA compliant for future, home buyers as well, is a good thing for our town. I know there's quite a few, homes that do comply in recent years, or have complied in recent years, and I think it's a good thing.
So I'm gonna take that as a segue, absolute underscore, right? There's 159 square feet, you know, attributable to barrier-free, some to the porch, right? But in my mind, front porches that are occupiable are a benefit to the public. Moore's Plains is better when people are sitting out there watching, waving to their neighbors and the dogs that are going by and whatnot. So I think that's attributable to that. So I think with the amended application, it went far to becoming an acceptable C2 variance. And steep slope is, in my mind, is not an issue. That's a controls during construction, right? I mean, it's not.
That's a construction issue for the most part.
All right. Does anybody want to make a motion regarding this application?
Make a motion to approve with the, conditions stated earlier.
Is there a second?
Second?
Karen, roll call from 6 people, please.
Okay, Mr. Baza?
Yes.
Mrs. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
And Mr. Cianciano?
Yes.
All right, your application has been approved. This action requires a resolution to memorialize the board's action on the application for the record, and this will be on the agenda for the regular February 24th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, everyone. 8:56, we're gonna take a 10-minute break, 9:06, back here, please. Thank you.